Hi, I'm Morgan Hines in the Phocuswire studio with Mathias Hedlund of Etraveli Group. Welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much.
So let's jump right in. Tell me about KKR's investment into Etraveli. How has the acquisition of a minority stake impacted operations at the company?
Well, I think the real change is that we finally, after basically being for sale for 5 years, we finally have a longer time horizon with a new investor coming in. So we can really think 3, 4, 5 years, and that changes how we operate. Of course, we can do more long-term investments, and we can take new bets, and I think that's the biggest change. Otherwise, we've been private equity owned by CVC for a long time.
Yeah.
Now we have both CVC and KKR, but it's the long-term perspective that is supportive.
Yeah. So tell me about that long-term vision. What does that look like 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line?
Well, 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Things are changing so quickly. But what we are doing is that we are transforming to a B2B company. With the start of the partnership with Booking.com in 5 years ago,
Right.
we really transformed from a B2C company with our own brands to a B2B company, trying to be supportive to the whole industry where it matters, where we can support, where we have capabilities. So the long-term vision is very clear in the sense that we want to double down on the B2B plan. Of course, Booking will always be, it's so big, and running their flights is a huge responsibility, and we're working very closely with them day by day, and of course that will always be our top priority. But we're going to add other partners next to them of size, and we're going to use different parts of our platform to support the whole ecosystem.
Right. So I want to come back to the B2B question, but tell me a little bit about the deal with Booking. I know that you've extended your partnership another 8 years as of June, right?
That's true.
So what does that look like? What's the game plan there?
Yeah, so it's a very long agreement. It's to 2033 now, and I would like to think that it will go on much longer than that. And I think it opened up new doors for Booking.com themselves. It was as important to them as to us that they would be able to do what they want to do. And for us, it was, of course, very important to have that long time frame and that stability in order to make investments together with them and support them in the best possible ways. It took a long time to make that. It's a very complex agreement, but I'm very happy we have that done now, and now we can really focus together to improve the product further. So the Booking.com flights product is really good in the comparison to what out there in the market already. But it can be better in all kinds of ways, and that's where we're going to put our head in and efforts to now.
What areas are you looking to improve?
I think it's everywhere. It's in the way the product is being bought, the value proposition, adding more flexibility to the product, supporting their vision of the connected trip even better. But then it's also a lot of post-booking. It's what happens when you bought your ticket, how do we help you when you have a trouble, etc. We're investing a lot in the customer service part of things, both in terms of automation, but also when you need to speak to a human, that you get the right service and so on. So it's a lot of different things, and the whole AI development is, of course, very supportive of this. We use a lot of AI to build their product, but also our own, of course. It's exciting times ahead with them.
Let's circle back to the B2B question. So you've said that you are, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket with Booking. Is that correct?
Well, it's a big egg, right? So whatever eggs you put next to it in the basket, it's still going to be a big egg. And now they're going to hate me for calling them a big egg, but they're a big corporation with great capabilities, and they will really win in the market. I'm a firm believer that Booking.com will win in the flights market with our support, and therefore they're always going to be overrepresented and very, very instrumental for us. However, while doing so and being the provider that we could be to others, we want to also make sure that we capitalize on that and that we help the whole ecosystem. But yes, so we don't have all the eggs in one basket, but I would not say that we're not dependent on Booking, because if they grow with 20% or if they grow with 40%, in flights, that matters to us a lot, and we need to support their overall growth.
So what are the perils of having that big of an egg per se?
Yeah. Well, it means that you have to gear the organization to support and also have a mindset that you are really there to support. So I'm going to speak to all my team the next couple of weeks around the world and having big events, and we go through the objectives for next year. And out of the 6 objectives that are the prioritized corporate objectives, 2 has something with booking to do. And that tells you a little bit about how important they are to us and how we gear our organization to it.
Yeah.
But there are also 4 other objectives that are very important in order to build the company and sort of create the value of the company long term. And I think we're on a very good path to do that. We've been focusing a lot the last year on the extension of the deal and the KKR transaction and so on. Now we are sort of, you're gonna hear more about us. You're going to write more article about us next year because it's going to happen more things externally.
So tell me a little bit about that B2B expansion outside of booking. What does that look like for you?
So it's basically taking our platform and taking parts or the full platform and offering it to different players in the market. What's happening right now in the OTA market concerning flights is very interesting, because if you look at the different players, it's basically only the big ones that are growing now. We are growing with 20%, Trip almost 10%, Expedia 5%. The market has been growing something 5 to 8%. Basically everybody else is decreasing. So what is happening then is it's so difficult to run flights today, because previously you could just hook up with some GDSs and you could get going. Today you have NDC, you have LCC, and the requirements are just so much harder, which makes the investments needed much bigger in order to be competitive. And there is a thin margin in flights, generally speaking. So it means that a lot of players will look to actually outsource a lot of that work and focus on what they can really be good at.
Right.
And that's where we came in.
Okay. So what kind of partners are you looking for?
We're looking both for existing players that have flights today, but come to the conclusion I just highlighted, but also other type of industries that want to get into travel in order to drive loyalty or drive something else. So I think you would see us the next year or two adding accounts that are both within the travel industry today, but also new entrants that want to get in there. And
are any on the table already? Are you still...
There are some very close, but a little bit too early to disclose.
Okay. And what about the B2C side? What are you doing there?
Yeah, so because of that development that we're seeing in the industry, what we also see is a shift towards the brands.
Okay.
So Booking.com brand, Trip, Agoda, the big brands. It is difficult today to grow smaller brands when you don't, because I cannot afford to invest in 75 markets to create a brand. Flights are just not allowing that. If I would have a lot of hotels, I could have done that, but I don't. So that means that running our B2C brands is not going to have a 20% growth going forward per se. We shall be happy if we can grow with the market, maybe 5-8% there. So basically, whatever we do in the platform should be used for our own brands and for Booking.com.
Okay.
Basically running 2 parallel strategies based on the same platform.
Got it. Okay. And what are your plans to extend fintech initiatives outside of precision?
So what the next sort of suite of products there is flexibility products.
Okay.
So that's something that we've been an instrumental part of our own operation, and we also support and supply them to Booking. And now we are breaking that out from our platform, so we have a standalone platform that we can use for anyone in the industry. And I think there are certain products there within the flexibility space where we are uniquely positioned to make them very, very profitable.
Okay.
And because of that, they will sort of resonate with OTAs primarily, that can increase their profitability by doing so. Okay. But again, we're going to focus on Booking, we're going to focus on our own brands, and then we're going to add this as a capability on top. How
far down the line do you think it is until you add those?
This is 26.
Okay. Okay, cool. And let's circle back to AI. How's Etraveli using AI how do you see the company evolving with AI?
Yeah. So there's a lot of people out there speaking about AI and how good they are and so on. You're not going to hear me saying that. For us, it's just a natural thing to do, just like, you evolve with the times, right?
Right, of course.
And we have been using machine learning forever, and now we use generative AI as well. So, and we do it everywhere in the company. We have it, of course, in pricing, in how we retrieve and present content within customer services, in the booking flow, all these different places. What's different for us and to many others that you hear talking about it is that we are not really in the top of the funnel ourselves. We are not trip planning, that very, very early stages. That's for someone else to do.
Right.
What we are really good at, that's what we call the dirty job in the coal mine. Doing the difficult back end things. That's what we are good at. So AI, when you see a lot of AI talks today, is about the top of the funnel. And our view on it is that whatever interface, wherever the customer is, whatever they will use, they would like to have the best air content at the best prices delivered well, and that's what we are doing. And that's going to sort of remain a very core, important asset.
So is it making things more efficient on the back end for you all then?
It does. But I would still say that it's more interesting how things will evolve in the front end, and thereby how we shall adapt our product to fit into that in the best possible way. I think that is, to me, the real interesting question. All the efficiencies and that you can do, they're good, but they are more incremental to me. And for example, in customer services, a lot of people talk about, I cut 20% of cost or 40% of cost. We also cut costs there.
Right.
But I think it's more important to actually improve the CSAT, or the satisfaction from the customers, with the help of AI. That is really what a company like Booking is looking for. So it's a little bit different perspective of how to use AI.
Right, that makes sense. So, and we touched on this a little, but can you go further into what your priorities are for 2026?
Yeah, so I mentioned Booking.
Right,
so of course it is to implement whatever we have agreed upon in the contract. It is to improve their product. That's very, very high priority. It is our own brands, to make sure that they develop in line with the market. So we have Booking being the real growth engine, and then we have our own brands being good. And then on top of that, it is to really roll out the B2B now. It's time. We have been sort of doing it a little bit with the left hand. Now we feel with the contract with Booking, with the KKR transaction, now we can go in with our full body and do that. And that's why I'm a little bit optimistic, I would say, about you seeing us doing more there.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you have some deals on the table that will come into play next year. Okay. And as we wrap up, if you could change one thing about the travel industry with a snap of your fingers, what would it be?
I think you need better venues for your conferences.
Oh no, okay. Well, hopefully... Yeah.
You were not prepared for that one, right?
No, threw me off. But we're really glad you're here, even if you don't love the venue.
I love the rest. But,
good. As long as the content is good.
Yes, and it's a fantastic platform to meet a lot of partners and colleagues around in the industry. I enjoy my days here immensely.
Good. Well, we're glad to have you here. So enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Morgan.